Yezalamanda, siyayibona yezalamanda. Yezalamanda, siyayibona yezalamanda. Uyayibona iPirates. Yezalamanda, siyayibona yezalamanda.
This is the Big Daddy Football Corner, where we tactically break down all Orlando Pirates matches. And again, in this particular video, we're doing the very same thing. And because Pirates is playing, every 3 days, the video just keeps on flowing. I'm back again, ladies and gentlemen. And igama lami nguSimanga, Makhubu isibongo. Abangaziyo bangibiza ngo Big Daddy. And let's jump into it, bafethu. Orlando Pirates were playing Stellies. Game played in Athlone Stadium, and the game finished 0-0, with nobody scoring that particular game. Actually, myself, I'm not surprised by the result, honestly, because Stellies have become Orlando Pirates' hoodoo team. If you just look at my head-to-head, before this match, the past 5 games that Orlando Pirates play against Stellies, Stellies won 4 times. There was only 1 draw when Orlando Pirates won, only once in those 5 games. And right now with this, in 6 games, with these results, it means Orlando Pirates have only won once in the past, 2 seasons or so, against Stellies. So Pirates have struggled to beat this team. So I'm not even surprised about these results. I think probably congratulations to Jose that I want to probably say. This was his 120th game as Orlando Pirates coach. I think he surpasses Ruud Krol in terms of having managed so much games. Congratulations to Jose Riveiro, because for me, he's without a doubt, shadow of doubt, he's the best coach that Orlando has had in the past 2 decades, in my own view. That's why I don't even want to entertain thoughts of him not renewing his contract, because it is a must that Orlando Pirates, Dr. Ivan Khoza, Bonkosana, Bompume renews a contract with Jose. It will be injustice to football if Orlando Pirates can let go of such a great coach. If I look at the lineup, what was interesting was Orlando Pirates had 3 players that were sitting on 3 yellow cards. And if they get any yellow card, they miss the Sundowns match. And Siamazu Jose is a very, very brave coach. He played all of them, Tito, Rele, and obviously Umbata, because he was injured. 5 changes that happened in the match, in this particular one. And we all know, ladies and gentlemen, that with games piling this way, you cannot play the same team. That's why people are questioning why Umabasa was sitting on the bench, Lamini was sitting on the bench. And this game just proved that he was obviously giving them time to rest so that they can start this particular game. But one thing in that lineup that I'm still questioning is, how does Ubandile Shandu keeps being in the top 20 ahead of enterprising young players like 22-year-old Kim Vudi, Bomoleleki, who are special talent. For me, I will question it. I will question this until I get an answer. First half, I'm just gonna state some interesting things that I noticed was how Stellies were retreating Orlando Pirates build up with a mid-block press of 3. You could see that they wanted to close Orlando Pirates from progressing, play through the central corridor with those 3 players that they allowed the center back to play the ball. But the trigger of the press was a pass into midfield. They will jump on the press, was as well as a pass into the fullback. And then you will see them obviously going into a press. But any pass into midfield was an aggressive press. And then any pass then that is to the right and the left fullbacks was obviously not that much of being aggressive. So the other interesting thing was 2 battles in the field of play was Moloisa, and it looks like, especially in the first half, when it started, it looks like he was tasked to say, get Mabasa out of the game, ensure you win every first ball, that comes to him, and ensure that he doesn't play, he doesn't take any shots in this particular game. And he was completely absent in this game, and I think Umoloisane played a brilliant game. The other interesting battle was between Nkota and Basadine. It was very, very interesting to see. And again, Basadine, I think in that game also came out tops in this particular battle, right? The other thing that I also noticed was Orlando Pirates tried a couple of times, exposing the height of the mid block, the last defensive line. They, I think, twice in that game, in the first 8 minutes, I think they've already played 2 balls, and one was in between the center back, and then the other was over, the defensive line. And Orlando Pirates looked very, very dangerous whenever they were breaking using those structures. The other thing as well that we all know about Stellenbosch is they are an astute defensive team. I think their defensive structure was to the T. Probably in the PSL, they are one of the most tactically disciplined side, how they are resilient in their gameplay. If you look at the 3 lines of pressure in terms of how they were compact, they were neat, there were no spaces in between the lines, vertically and horizontally. Everything counted in terms of space, and they minimized that area. They ensured that the key central areas were controlled to the T, especially in the first half, right? The other thing that I was very, very impressed about was Orlando Pirates' rest defense. And the rest defense, the 3-1, at times 3-2 rest defense. Jose, please may this continue, because every time, Stellies were trying to attempt, any transition moment, they failed. For the first time in a long time, I've seen Orlando Pirates controlling the match for the entire 90 minutes. I was very, very, very impressed by how Orlando Pirates controlled the match. I think the 3 central corridors, they were covered every time Stellies tried to attempt any transition, and they did not pose any threat in terms of transition moments, which we know them for. That Mosele Makaula 6-6 pivot, for me, is the best Orlando Pirates midfield pairing, because it doesn't give anybody space. And for the first time, Orlando Pirates did not get bullied to midfield, right? I love how Diano was not going up, and he was allowing Uhoto to go up. Also, Nkota was pinning Ubasadin, and I love how Uhoto was providing the width on the left-hand side. So for me, it was neat defense, neat midfield, right? I think the biggest problem that probably Orlando Pirates had was up front when nothing was happening there. Around the 36th minute, Orlando Pirates got a free kick that Udlamini played brilliantly, but it hit, the crossbar. And it started to make me think that Orlando Pirates, it's been a while, man. They last scored through a free kick. That's where I really think I want this point to improve. I really want him to improve. He really needs to improve his splitting decision-making in the final third, because in this game it was very poor. He found himself in 1v1 situations, probably the entire first half, against Ubasadin, but he couldn't break that. I think the Bay is not brutal enough, man. He's got a very low percentage of success, whenever he's on 1v1 situation. He was always caught between passing the defender or making a pass or even taking a shot. I think if you look at the stats in the first half, he lost the most ball, out of everyone in the Orlando Pirates. The goals are drying up, the assists are not coming, and yeah, man, I really want him to improve. And people will say probably he's 19 years old, his first season in the PSL. But Orlando Pirates' model is always to give these players a chance. And I want him to improve, because I think he's got gold in front of him. And the first half, I honestly said to myself, no, man, Orlando Pirates has a chance of coming back. There is a way, especially after that controversial moment of Onyango getting that red card, right? But in the second half, what was interesting for me was Mosele acting as a pivot, a central midfielder. When he was dropping on the left-hand side and he was adding, and he became the third center back on build-up. And then once Orlando Pirates progressed play, and then he's going to shift into midfield, and whenever we lose possession, he goes into that position, because Uhoto was providing width on the other side. I think for me, that was very interesting, because whenever Orlando Pirates broke the first line of confrontation, that's when then he dropped into midfield. For me, I think I think in the PSL, he's probably him and Tebogo Mokoena that I've seen doing that. Orlando Pirates positional rotation, what at his best. And it was very interesting and beautiful to see, as well as his positional intelligence, Gamosele, second to none. The Dlamini sub for me, for Tito, I think it was wrong in my own view. I think the player that needed to come out was Nkota. And at times Jose can be too predictable because we all know as soon as Tito warms up, everybody knows who Dlamini is going to come out. And for me, there was a game where I think he needed to take out Nkota because there was that low block, because as soon as they got the red card, they dropped into a low block. And we know Stellies how difficult it is to break them once they do that low block. And Orlando Pirates needed to be patient on the ball to try and break that low block. Why take that player that gives you that? So for me, that Dlamini sub was, for me it was wrong sub from our coach. And then Orlando Pirates had all the possession in the world, but they had it in the wrong areas where they did not have Stellies. And I think today, big ups to Stellies, how defensively organized in the second half after red card they were. If you look at the stats, Orlando Pirates had 71% possession and Stellies had 29%, but the score was not. Orlando Pirates doubled the passes. They had 618 and Stellies has 241, but the score was 0-0. So you can have all the possession in the world, but if you got in the wrong areas, it's going to help you in any way. Please share, like, and comment. And also, let me know if there's any interesting details that you saw out of this match. Thank you.